A cunning jewel thief leads police on a chase that spans the globe and lasts decades. Authorities all over the world seem powerless as they pursue a brilliant woman they will come to know as the Queen of Jewels. The barbed wire fences of the Colorado State Correction Facility hold some of America's most cunning criminal minds, including a thief implicated in more than 400 jewel heists. Louise Davis, the Queen of Jewels.
I thought I could get away with anything. Let's say go into a fine store, and I'm speaking hypothetically, and just say you walk out with a $100,000 diamond ring that is of great quality. I just thought I could get away with it, because I did.
During the course of her career, Louise Davis has stolen millions of dollars in precious gems from some of the finest stores in the world. She remembers the beginning of that career as a young black woman growing up in Slab Fork, West Virginia.
Well, hey, Louise, how you doing?
I'm fine. Mom told me.
Oh,
And she remembers the day her mother sent her to the store to settle a bill.
My mom told me that if I make straight A's, I can get a watch.
Oh, that's nice.
While she was there, a watch caught her eye.
That's a good one. It's pretty. I think you're gonna like it.
The store owner allowed her to try on the watch.
Yeah, well, how you been anyway?
And he treated me so nice, and I was quite proud of the way he was treating me. And a man, a white man,
See another one you might like?
entered the store.
This one here? Hi, Bob.
His whole everything changed. He was no longer patient. He was no longer nice.
All right, you just run on home there.
Forgetting Louise had the watch, the man pushed her away.
Come on in here. How you doing today, my friend?
Doing fine.
For an impressionable young girl, the incident would mark the beginning of her lifelong pursuit.
I know I have this watch on, and I'm kind of miffed at the manner in which he has changed on me. And I'm not going to give him this watch back at the counter. I'm not going to do that.
Thank you, right.
Louise changed her mind and gave the watch back.
Now, Louise,
But the incident gave her immediate insight into the way people work.
Based upon what happened in the store, I know how to go in another store and cause the jewelry man to forget I have his watch. And I went from this store to this store to this store until I made it happen.
It was a lesson Davis would call upon in the years to come. By the time she was a young woman, Davis's life was in chaos. She was divorced. She was unemployed. And she had a family to support. She decided her only option was to steal her way out of trouble. But first, she had to reinvent herself. Davis read fashion magazines like how-to manuals. Now that she had the right look, she needed the right education. High-end jewelry stores became her classrooms.
okay, let's go to your...
Davis listened closely as sales clerks talked about gems.
You notice that launch?
She observed the mannerisms of their well-to-do customers. Once she had seen how the game worked, she knew she could play it.
I never felt like I had to get confidence. I never felt like I was lacking in anything that I needed in order to go into a fine jewelry shop.
But even her confidence could not overcome the suspicions of store clerks. Davis realized she would never be thought of as well-to-do in the United States. So she went to Europe. In 1974, Davis found herself in Monte Carlo, the glistening jewel of the Riviera. She headed straight for Casino Square. There she found exactly what she was looking for: the most expensive jewelry stores in the world. As she entered the first exclusive salon, she charmed the sales clerks to establish her persona, a woman of exacting tastes and the money to support them. As the clerks hurried to accommodate her, she simply waited for the right moment to strike.
Hello, sir.
When the salesman left her alone with a tray of rings, she quietly made her move.
These days, your typical jewel thief, comes into a jewelry store with a mask and a shotgun and an accomplice and a hammer, and they break open the cases, get as many gems as they can, terrorize the patrons, and then get out of there. She was kind of elegant in what she did.
After she had taken the ring, she calmly departed. A taxi waited out front. Once safely away, she examined the ring more carefully. Everything she knew told her this was no ordinary ring.
I knew something was amiss. It was too much. It was costly to the point that there was going to be an all-out dragnet.
There was no sign of the police when she arrived at the airport. Louise purchased a ticket to Geneva, the first flight out of the country. She sat and waited, wondering how long it would take for the jeweler to notice the ring was missing. But it was already too late.
We are with the police.
Is there a problem, officer?
We're not quite sure.
Louise Davis was taken into custody by French authorities.
Right that way.
The policemen grew frustrated. They had nabbed their suspect, but the ring was nowhere to be found. Louise had been searched several times, but she used sleight of hand to transfer it from one hiding place to another. The ring was never discovered.
Eventually, I go to jail. Every day or every other day, they would come looking for it. And every day I had it. I thought about throwing it away. I thought about giving it to them. And the attorney told me it wouldn't make any difference. Don't.
If she was going to keep it, she had to hide it. Louise requested a pair of nail clippers. She used them to pry the diamond from its setting.
Then I got me some thread, black thread and a needle. I put the diamond in the panty girdle loop, and I whip stitched it.
She wore the girdle every day, only taking it off to wash it.
And I wore it, wet or dry. I never was out of it.
Several months later, Davis and another prisoner were taken to a city clinic for a routine physical exam. The moment she entered the building, Davis started looking for a way out.
Is there a ladies' room around here? Right there.
She'd asked to use the restroom. Davis had trained herself to act quickly. This might be her only chance to escape. She did not hesitate. As Davis left the hospital, she spotted a man getting into a car. She knew she was home free. He would not be the first man taken in by her charm, nor would he be the last.
He drove me to over into Belgium, and that's where I went and got the passport. I just got out of there quick. I left that day.
She made her way to London. The polite young girl who grew up in the poverty of coal mining towns now mingled with European high society. Davis called them her bubbas. It was her nickname for rich people who gave her the instant credibility she needed.
We window shopped close to closing time in the fine salon areas. I made sure the people inside saw me with Bubba. And then I would go alone.
Being seen with the rich assured her entree into the most exclusive shops. She was always greeted by a very helpful sales staff. Every time she was in the store, she used the same ploy. It was brilliant in its simplicity.
She would engage the proprietor in conversation and ask to look at certain rings or certain pieces of jewelry, and would spend a significant amount of time discussing the quality of the gems and all that kind of stuff. And during the course of that, she'd slip on her finger a valuable stone, and then she'd look at it and then continue talking with the owner of the store. And at some point, she'd ask to excuse herself for a minute, either to go find her husband or to go get her checkbook or something like that, and she'd walk out the store.
Louise Davis had become quite the jet setter. She would steal a ring in Europe and sell the goods in the United States. She concealed the merchandise from customs officials in ordinary containers. By the 1980s, Davis had managed to elude Interpol, Scotland Yard, and local authorities in scores of cities across the US and Europe. But her luck was about to run out. In 1982, Louise Davis was arrested for selling stolen merchandise in Tarrant County, Texas. The item in question was a 3-carat diamond ring worth nearly $32,000.
Okay, look straight at me. You okay, man? Yeah, for number 3.
At various times in her long career, she'd been arrested and put in jail. She never stayed for long. One evening, while awaiting trial, Louise complained of abdominal pains.
Where's number 3?
That would be great.
She was transferred to a hospital where she convinced a volunteer to uncuff her. It was all she needed. Davis spent another 5 years on the lam. The FBI finally caught up with her in 1987. She was sent to jail for 6 years. Nearly 60, she was released. But was Louise Davis ready to retire? Over the next 5 years, the Queen of Jewels crime wave continued. Then, in 1998, she set her sights on an upscale department store in Denver, Colorado. To the salesman in the store, the new customer was impeccably dressed, poised, and articulate. She seemed every inch a sophisticated woman of means. She told the clerk she was interested in purchasing a diamond bracelet and matching
This one
ring.
as well?
He showed her several
Perhaps two rings.
pieces. It would be his first mistake.
Most insurance companies do not permit more than one piece of jewelry to be shown at one time. But you cannot do that to someone that you think is millionaire.
Working with you today?
Well, thank
And
you.
I hope to see you again soon. Please come
After
back.
30 minutes, Davis said she couldn't make up her mind. She said she would return later that afternoon with her husband.
How'd you make up? She couldn't decide if she liked the size or the season. So, still up in the air. She said she has to go talk to her husband. Well, is there one of the rings over there? I put 'em
The
all
sales
up
clerks
here.
finally realized the truth.
You don't think she might have taken a ring?
The lady was a thief.
Oh my God.
The police were called in. The suspect had been careful not to leave behind physical evidence. The stolen ring was large, 3 emerald-cut diamonds in a platinum setting. It weighed more than 5 carats and was worth $57,000. The officers relayed the suspect's description to Detective Gail Redell, a 30-year veteran of Denver's Property Crimes Unit. Redell had a hunch she knew who they were dealing with.
The physical description and the method of operation sounded very familiar to me because of a bulletin that we had received from the Jeweler Alliance Securities. So I went back through and found the bulletin and read it again, and it matched the method of operation, and the physical description was correct of the suspect.
The charming silver-haired grandmother was more than a thief. She was a one-woman crime wave. Redell's 30 years on the force had taught her that thieves like Louise Davis move fast. The detective circulated a description of Davis to businesses in the Denver area. If Davis struck again, they'd be waiting. Officers were dispatched to the airport, but no one had seen the notorious Queen of Jewels. As officers searched for the suspect, Redell looked into her past. And what a past it was.
When we put her into the computer to look at her record, it came out to be over 6 feet in length. I think we came up with 63, 64 arrests. From the information that I'd already received, this woman was more than big. She was enormous.
A judge granted an arrest warrant. Based on Davis's lengthy criminal record, bail was set at a hefty $1 million. Now all they had to do was catch her. Redell suspected Davis had already left the state. The detective called the Federal Bureau of Investigation for help. Davis, she discovered, was no stranger to them. The FBI's Cleveland office led the Davis investigation. Her file listed her last known address as a home in an upper-middle-class Cleveland neighborhood.
Nothing here.
FBI agents searched her house. Davis was not there, but what they found intrigued them. Stashed inside the refrigerator was $10,000 in cash. It was the sign of a consummate professional. The refrigerator was probably one of many hiding places Davis kept in case she needed quick cash for a getaway. A box of forged passports confirmed their suspicions. Louise Davis was already on the move. And there was no telling where in the world she'd turn up.
I got a phone call from the FBI agent stating, you may not like this, but we got into her house and we found a lot of passports. All of her photos are there, but under variable names. And she left the country and came back in one day shortly after your theft. And I said, are you telling me the ring has already been taken to Europe? And he said, no, but I'm just getting you prepared that there is a possibility. But he said, we are working on another angle here and we will keep you posted. And it was kind of like, as fast as we moved, she moved faster.
It was beginning to seem as if the Denver Police Department and the Federal Bureau of Investigation would be outwitted by a little old lady. It took a month, but the FBI finally got a break. A Cleveland pawnbroker recognized a photo of the stolen ring. He had recently sold it himself.
The receipt right here. Let me look at the receipt here.
FBI agents spoke with a man who bought the item.
Yeah. Do you have it with you? Just went out.
It was indeed the ring taken in Denver. Agents had recovered the stolen goods, but they were no closer to catching the perpetrator. A 68-year-old woman who was clearly still in her prime. Louise Davis had been on the lam for most of her life. She had eluded the FBI and Denver Police Detective Gail Redell for over a month. In September 1998, Davis walked into another upscale store in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. This time, thanks to an alert sales clerk, she was not anonymous. The clerk checked a wanted poster sent out by the Denver police. She recognized the infamous Queen of Jewels. She called security. Gail Redell finally got the call she had been waiting for. Louise Davis was in custody, but for how long?
I said, do not give her a bond. I said, my bond is $1 million on this case. And there was a hesitation on the other end. And I said, did you hear what I said? And he said, $1 million on this little old lady? And I said, yes, sir. I said, she is more than she appears. So please, you know, it's just everybody assumes from her demeanor and of her age that she is not a serious problem. And in fact, she really is.
This time, Louise didn't get away, and she was soon sitting in a police interrogation room opposite the woman who had finally stopped her.
I said, I want you to tell me how you did this. And she kind of stopped for a second. She looked at me and kind of smiled, and she said, you're the first detective that has ever asked me how I did it.
Can you tell me what you did with that ring?
The key, she said, was in her image.
Oh, certainly. All right.
Davis had built her career by mastering a shell game that played on the perceptions of others.
Describe him to your husband. Sure. My name is Kevin again.
Over and over, she performed the same con, and each time it worked.
Certainly. Goodbye.
I knew that I could have been just as successful on the straight and narrow. I did. I should have been a lawyer.
But Davis didn't choose the straight and narrow. In February 2000, she was found guilty of grand larceny. Louise is eligible for parole in 2004 and could even be released earlier on good behavior.